are you? How's it going? Well, that's one of the last images of this group of people who went to Everest. But then a historic snowstorm hit them. And right now, look, 1,000 people are trapped on Everest. It's a disaster. It's chaos what's happening. Obviously, this is going to be difficult. It's going to be hard for these people to survive. And the world is watching this situation. In the end, more and more people are trying to take on this adventure. There are more facilities. There's basically a whole tourist route now, where, of course, you need to be physically prepared. Many people visit every year, but littering is a problem. Around 1,000 people are trapped on the eastern slope of Mount Everest after an intense storm that they say is historic. Starting yesterday, the storm suddenly hit, and the authorities, who by the way had already banned access to that place since Friday, but people still hadn't left, some of them. Roughly 900 to 1,000 people, so the estimate is around 1,000, right? They were already there when the climate phenomenon began, so they were told, hey, you have to leave. Some managed to get out, others stayed there waiting to see if the situation would improve. Well, not only did it not improve, but the storm was much worse than expected. Maybe some tried to get out and there was no way. We don't know. That part will be told later. We hope they survive. An emergency rescue operation was launched, obviously, to save those affected. Many of them were at about 5,000 meters of altitude, according to Chinese media, that is lower than the... Obviously, it's not that the thousands are at the summit of Everest, but rather they are in different camps. Witnesses report that many tents were already found destroyed, and that there's about 1.5 meters of snow blocking all the paths down. There's no way through. There have already been reports from some who managed to communicate that some climbers are showing symptoms of hypothermia, so it's a very complicated situation. Temperatures are dropping below -50 degrees Celsius, and they're working as a team. Their gear handles -20 or 30 degrees Celsius, but this is much colder. In order to withstand it, Everest is known as one of the most exotic and challenging places because of its extreme conditions. But normally there are certain times of the year when people visit, and you can go with a certain level of safety. Thank you for watching. Around last year, an estimate was made of how many bodies are there, right? Because they even use them as landmarks now, like... Hey, have you reached where the body of so-and-so is? This is where you turn right or left. I mean, basically, some have tried to bring them down, but up to now, there are still 300 they haven't been able to bring down. They're still there, scattered in different places. Impressive. By the way, the cost to bring down a single body is about $80,000. Just imagine. I mean, it's extremely expensive. Just imagine. Multiply that by the 300 that are there. Obviously, no one does it. Besides, the rescuers are at huge risk, so it's the risk involved and how expensive it is, right? That's why it's like that, right? It just piles up. Nepal, by the way, the area between, well, let's say between Nepal and China, which is where the whole Everest area is, they've been experiencing a series of storms and even major floods in recent days. Floods and landslides. Well, remembering, I don't know if you all remember 2020, we talked about it here at the time. These images from 2020 are a similar situation. More or less the same date, only that on that occasion, 132 people lost their lives. In this case, it's 51 so far. But, well, the thing is that it continues. Let's quickly look at the map. This is Everest. This whole area is completely covered in snow right now. The entire upper part, which is where the camps and everything are. This is a live camera, where you can see what the situation is like right now. This is the area where the serious situation is happening, where this issue with the climbers is taking place. Well, let's hope they get rescued. This is the Everest area where, well... we'll have to wait and see if there is more news to find out if it will be possible to rescue these people. Right now, they are reopening or trying to reopen the path. How? Well, removing tons and tons of snow to try to clear the roads and get these people out. Well, in the meantime, obviously total suspension of access to this mountain, to this area. In the meantime, these images are shared by Vladimir Zelensky himself, where you can see some footage, where you can see fires caused by the attacks they've been receiving from Russia. Look, they claim this has been a firestorm. Well, what we're seeing, this particular image really caught my attention. Shared today by Zelensky himself, we see above from Zelensky's account where he explains this whole situation. It says the following. Let's see. Russia launched its fiercest offensive of the year. Ukraine received 700 bombings with missiles and drones impacting 8 regions, leaving a lot of people without electricity and obviously with consequences. The hardest hit areas were Zaporizhzhia and Libya, where 5 civilians died and 14 were injured. The Prime Minister of Ukraine, Yulia Svigienko, reportedly confirmed that the attack was directed at regions such as Kharkiv, Odessa, and Chernihiv. Did you come, Ivanov Fragdisk? President Zelensky denounced that the Russians have attacked again. What is the infrastructure like? And they clearly don't guarantee people's lives. Now, in Zaporizhzhia, hundreds of bombings were recorded in just a few hours. Artillery attacks, attacks with kamikaze drones. According to what Governor Ivan Fedorov says, 73,000 households were left without electricity due to this storm of fire. It clearly caused issues in this region. Poland has been on high alert since yesterday, mobilizing its planes and those of its NATO allies as well, to be prepared for any situation, because they view the attacks as nearby. And Ukraine, he was very upset. Zelensky today saying that Europe talks a lot, that Europe says many things, talks a lot, but doesn't really do anything. And that in the face of the bombings that have happened in recent days, look, no one has done anything. In Europe, everyone is acting crazy, running around in circles. Going nowhere? Right? And Ukraine, well, trying to defend itself in this situation. He was very upset, I think, I can imagine. It must be frustrating, suddenly realizing that your friends, your allies could defend you, but they're not doing it. I mean, they have enough power to defend you, but they're not doing it. They help you? Yeah, but they don't get involved, right? And well, this situation is getting more and more complicated. It's obviously an escalation, but we'll stay alert and keep ourselves informed about the details as things develop. Meanwhile, this is PPenLive. International news every day. Thank you for joining us. You can support this news channel down below in the description. There are several ways. Through PayPal, through a membership, through Super Chat, even with a like, by sharing, by leaving us a comment, it's always appreciated. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.